Israel doesn't want Iran to take over everything, and in fact, Israel actually stands up for themselves all the time.
They may end up being in a bigger war.
Let me finish, don't interrupt.
If you vote for Democrat, they will turn the United States into Venezuela. Do you think that's a fair statement to make?
Well, if you vote for a socialist, you might get socialism.
Come on, don't do that.
Should we ever walk out in the middle? It's like walking out.
You should never be there in the first place.
That's not the question.
Finish, don't interrupt. So Iran gets up against the border.
I am about to
comes up
You're going to
against the
stick.
border, and Israel
We'll be right back.
Rand Paul walked into the View like he was walking into enemy territory.
Israel doesn't want Iran to take over everything, and in fact, Israel actually stands up for themselves all the time.
They may end up being in a bigger war.
Let me finish, don't interrupt.
Except this time, he wasn't backing down. What unfolded next was nothing short of political warfare. Whoopi was shouting, Sonny was triggered, Navarro nearly blew a fuse, and the audience, dead silent. Because Rand didn't come to play games. He came to pull the curtain back on the lies, and the hosts never recovered.
Should we ever walk out in the middle? It's like walking out.
You should never be there in the first place.
That's not the question.
Whoopi tried to control the narrative, but Rand Paul flipped the script. She was ranting about Israel and Iran, talking over everyone as usual, when Rand calmly dropped a line that stopped her cold. She has to interrupt in fear he might say something that doesn't align with the program. And just like that, the mask slipped. But if Whoopi thought interrupting would shut him down, she clearly didn't expect what was coming next. Because what Rand did next was a masterclass in economic reality. While they tried to bait him with questions about his book, The Case Against Socialism, he flipped the conversation upside down.
Let me finish, don't interrupt. So Iran gets up against the border.
I'm sorry, Senator.
So
I am interrupting
Iran
because
comes up
you're
against
going
the
to
border,
stick.
and Israel
We'll be right
pushes
back.
back.
Everyone thinks Bernie's selling this dream version of Scandinavia. But Rand exposed the brutal truth most Americans have no idea about. He broke it down with facts. No, Denmark isn't socialist. They have private property, no minimum wage, low corporate taxes, and a stock exchange. And here's the killer stat. In Scandinavia, the working class pays a 25% sales tax, and if you make over $60,000, you're getting hit with a 60% income tax. That's not socialism for the rich. That's socialism crushing the middle class. And when the audience tried to clap back, claiming, but we pay massive taxes too and don't get anything, Rand shut that down in seconds. He fired back with IRS statistics that no one wanted to hear. The top 1% pay 40% of all income tax. Most people under $50,000, they don't pay income tax at all. Boom. Silence.
We have massive taxes here, but we don't get any free stuff. We don't have free health care. Well, our public education system is a problem.
We have a
Seems like the only people that get free stuff are the very, very wealthy.
We have a different form of taxation in our country. Ours is much more progressive. So we've taken the poor off of the rolls. They don't pay income tax anymore. Most people below $50,000 don't pay any income tax. The top 1% in our country pay 40%.
Our audience says that's not true. Donald Trump doesn't pay any income tax.
But just when Rand had the floor and was calmly laying out numbers, Sunny Hostin couldn't help herself. She blurted out, Donald Trump doesn't pay any income tax, because that's all she had left. Orange man bad. Rand didn't flinch, and as Sunny spiraled into a full-on rant about tax fairness, Rand remained laser-focused. Because while the hosts were spewing emotional talking points, Rand was dropping facts, and the difference was obvious. And then, the Venezuela moment hit. When the host asked about comparisons between Venezuela and America, Rand didn't hesitate. If you vote for a socialist, you might get socialism. Navarro's head nearly exploded.
If you vote for Democrat, they will turn the United States into Venezuela. Do you think that's a fair statement to make?
Well, if you vote for a socialist, you might get socialism.
Come on, don't do that.
She interrupted him mid-sentence, screaming, Maduro isn't a socialist, he's a murderer. Rand stayed calm and corrected her. So wait, you're saying he's not a thug starving his own people? Can we have a real conversation or not? That one line told the whole story. Rand came to debate. They came to scream. But it didn't stop there, because as the chaos grew louder, Rand calmly pivoted to the real problem. America's obsession with endless wars. He laid it out plain. Regime change doesn't work. Iraq? A disaster? Libya? More chaos? Afghanistan? 19 years. Billions spent. And for what? And here's what hit the hardest. War's not a chess game. People lose their limbs. People die. You tell the parents of those 50 soldiers how great the symbolism was when a suicide bomber takes them all out. The crowd was stunned. Even the hosts were quiet for a moment, until they weren't. They tried to spin it. They tried to turn the conversation into abandoning allies and breaking our word. But Rand didn't budge. My oath is to the Constitution. I didn't promise to take the country to war. I promised not to. He reminded them, it's not about left or right. It's about America first. But if you thought that was bold, Rand wasn't done yet, because then came the most damning section of the entire interview, Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan. Rand pulled no punches, no accountability, no resignations, and we left $88 billion in equipment behind for the Taliban. Who's being held responsible? Nobody. He laid the blame exactly where it belonged, on Biden's lack of leadership. He called out the double standard in Washington. If Trump had done this, his head would have been on a stick. But Biden, crickets. And you know what? He wasn't wrong. Trump negotiated a peaceful drawdown. No American soldier had died in combat under his watch since February 2020. Biden blew it, and no one got fired. And Rand said what millions of Americans were already thinking. This isn't leadership. This is cowardice. But Rand didn't stop there. He hit the root of the problem, the swamp. Washington, D.C. is full of career politicians who care more about optics than outcomes. They send our kids to die in pointless wars while ignoring the crisis at home: fentanyl, homelessness, broken education, neglected veterans. The real war is here, and no one in power seems to care. Rand called them out one by one: the war hawks, the corporate media, the bureaucrats who never pay the price for their failures. He said it plain. We've been in Afghanistan for 19 years, and these same people would still have us in Vietnam if they could. That's the kind of truth that doesn't get airtime on CNN. And even as the hosts tried to interrupt again and again, Rand pushed through with clarity. The only duty we owe is to the Constitution. I didn't sign up to keep fighting other countries' wars, and neither did President Trump. And just when you thought he might slow down, he landed the final blow. Donald Trump had the situation under control. He was pulling troops out responsibly, reducing numbers year by year. But when Biden took over, everything collapsed. And not only was he not held accountable, he blamed Trump. That's not leadership. That's cowardice. That's the swamp. So what's the takeaway? Rand Paul walked into a lion's den and came out untouched. The hosts tried to bait him, shout over him, twist his words, but every time he brought it back to facts, truth, and the Constitution. No wonder the audience was divided. No wonder the internet exploded. And no wonder Rand Paul walked out of that studio looking like the only adult in the room, because in the end, when everyone else was yelling, he was the only one actually saying something. So now it's your turn. If you were a politician, would you dare step onto The View? Would you debate Whoopi, Sunny, and Anna? Or would you, like most sane people, run for the hills? Let us know in the comments. And if you think Rand Paul made some solid points, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still believes in common sense. Because in this era of chaos, truth hits harder than ever.